Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. So what I wanted to talk to you all about today is, some of the prerequisites or the key pillars to be ready to really, tap into the opportunity that the AI and machine learning brings us. But to start with a little bit of a definition, really. I mean, when we talk about AI, and we really mean, two different things. One is the machine learning, and the other part is generative AI, right? The machine learning is basically, the way we think about it, is the mathematical supercomputer, and the generative AI is the English supercomputer, that can interpret natural language and do a lot of cool things. So when we think about finance, and especially FP&A, and I try to list a few use cases on the bottom left here that are being used now across various parts of finance, and I think a lot of us are still struggling to find and understand these use cases. But there are quite a few, especially in the area of machine learning, which is all about data and training an algorithm, and then teach it to basically continue to learn by itself. So plenty of already used examples there. On the generative AI part of things, for finance, there are some implications. There are some off-the-shelf products that are being used in various parts of finance, but for FP&A, this is the harder nut to crack, mostly for the reasons of data security and ownership, and we'll hear about that later on in the presentation, and actually some great examples from the other panelists here, both in the area of machine learning as well as generative AI. So the use cases are starting to emerge. Adoption currently is low, but will increase. So what we need to make sure is that we're ready for it, right? We can start experimenting now, but in my opinion, there are two areas that we absolutely have to focus that are sort of prerequisites for successful implementation of AI-related technologies. So if we so on the next slide, I will actually talk about one of the two key elements, which is the data element. I mean, of course, there are all sorts of other success factors for an AI machine learning program. Of course, there's budgets, there is support from leadership, and so on and so forth. But the key areas, the two key areas that I want to touch on briefly today, is one is the data element, and the other one is the human element, or how to set up successful teams. So the data element is the first one where I think a lot of companies are underestimating how much work needs to go into a technology roadmap and overall the safeguarding and structuring of our data assets as a company. But to be honest, those are fundamental for then later applications of most sophisticated technologies like AI. And when you think of the data starts from all the source systems and all the different inputs that go into a company or a company's processes or a company's decision-making mechanisms. Then it goes through some preparation. It ends up in some sort of a data mart or a data lake, or ideally by today a cloud-based analytics environment. Then it goes into visualized products and ultimately customers and decision makers. And throughout these data lineage, so to say, I think it is critical that we really treat these data assets as digital assets and safeguard them and have data governance around, and make sure that we focus a lot on data quality and accuracy, because these are the foundations of then machine learning applications to be built on top. And data models cannot be underestimated. And we ourselves, I mean, at my company, Sportradar, we are a data company. We're a data technology company, and we deal with huge amounts of data sets, much of it real time when it comes to our customer facing products. And there's a lot of attention on those data sets and data models. But when it comes to our internal decision making, which we in FP&A tend to focus on most of the time, is how do we make that internal decision making more efficient, and how do we make sure that we safeguard those data sets and the data models underneath it the same way. And we have this data lineage automated and clean and top quality. Even for a technology company like us, it's not, not natural. And therefore, we've invested a lot of effort into this, and we do have a couple of AI machine learning applications starting already in the areas of forecasting, for example, and in the areas of insight generation as well, more in the generative AI side of things. But honestly, even us, a technology company, we're still today working a lot on the actual data preparation and making sure that the underlying data sets are solid enough so that we have enough training data and enough history, and the business logic is all clear. So to me, learning to pay attention to data models, have a solid technology roadmap within FP&A, and really treating these data sets and data assets as a critical value driver for the company. Moving on to before moving on to the people element, one example of this evolution of data, so to say, and how that results in then more complex and better technologies going forward. So our forecasting effort started around revenue forecasting 2-3 years ago, using just understanding the 50+ KPIs that we believed might have correlation to revenue, and understanding that correlation matrix, to then putting in place a fundamentally multiple regression based model. There's some other components to it, but it's predominantly based on multiple regression. But it's a static model, it's a predictive model, right? So future looking, but it's still a static model, it's not a learning model. But we needed to take that step as well to ultimately get to where we're now, which is implementing more of a learning algorithm, and let the machine continue to fine-tune itself, or the algorithm fine-tune itself, and really iteratively and dynamically pick the right variables from an opportunity list of many that drive revenue and have impact on revenue, and therefore resulting in continuously improved outcomes and better forecasting. So moving on to then the second point, the people element, right? So there is, of course, when it comes to people, there is a cultural element, and that starts from to what extent there is support from top management and leadership. It also starts from the fear of job security, or from a lot of individuals who, when you think about AI, they think that these technologies are going to replace them or replace their jobs. And I think therefore driving the right culture and driving the right positioning is a critical first step. And the way we should position AI is it's a new type of coworker, right? Just like we people, we work in teams. A lot of problems we can only solve if we work in teams. We individually don't have all the skill set, and the same way with AR, right? With AI, they cannot work alone. They need a capable pilot, so to say, to drive that technology and use it as a co-pilot to drive better results. And you can see in the left and right hand side of that image some of the areas or some of the skills that we people are better at and good at, and what are the areas when the machine as our co-pilot, as our co-worker can really be helpful. Right, so so as you can see, and it's quite intuitive. The machine's better at calculating and standard processes and simple decisions, and it can recommend and inform and promote certain decisions. But then the human is required to guide that machine, to build that machine, to frame the problem, to design the strategy of the company, and to really support complex decisions, not just binary decisions. So in order for us as an FP&A organization to be successful as a co-worker together with technologies like AI, is really, in my opinion, the significant upskilling of a wide group within FP&A. So and of course you need expert roles as well. So when you look at the bottom of the page here, there are the expert roles, and that's the left-hand side. You can call it a center of excellence or an engineering center. Those are the people who know how to, how to develop, how to build a machine learning algorithm. But then, most of the people that we have in our FP&A organization are sort of in the middle category, middle box there, which we can call the AI evangelist or a citizen data scientist. That's a term that Gartner uses, for example. But what we're talking about here is really a group of people who really understand the technology enough so that they can see its applications and implications on the business, right? So they are the business people and the FP&A business partners, and the folks in our teams who know about our business and products and our technologies and have the functional expertise. But they also need to be the type of people who constantly, as they do their work, understand what the linkage is towards technologies that are available today, for example, AI, machine learning, and can translate business problems, FP&A problems into requirements that then can be picked up from that center of excellence or engineering center, and actually a product can be developed from it. And then I did touch a little bit about leadership and how important it is that we have an AR forward culture in the company and the right support for the investment into the technologies itself, but also in the upskilling of our workforce within FP&A. So those are the two key aspects of readiness that I wanted to start this presentation with, and I'm happy to obviously open to questions.